Hello, folks, and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party and Tea Time. Today, I'm going to talk about this whole Flappy Birds thing, and I know I'm probably the first person on YouTube or anywhere to talk about the Flappy Birds fiasco. But seriously, yes, I know everybody's talking about this crap, and I totally understand if you don't want to watch this. However, do know that I'm going to come from this from a slightly different angle than I think a lot of people are doing it. I'm not going to be talking about whether or not it was a ripoff. I'm not going to be talking about whether or not it did some kind of shady mechanics to get to the top. I'm not going to talk about any of that, except as it pertains to what I do want to talk about. And what that is why Flappy Birds in particular got so much hate from the interwebs. So just to give you a quick update on Flappy Birds, if you haven't been keeping up with it, long story short, Flappy Birds comes out. It's like the #1 in the iOS charts, and it's a very simplistic but apparently very punishing game. I've never played it. I didn't really care until the most recent events have popped up. But it got a lot of negativity because several sites and many people thought that it ripped off graphics from various games, and some people thought it was a straight up ripoff of a game called Pew Pew or Pow Pow or whatever the hell the name is. So it got a lot of negative attention because of that. And the developer yesterday, February 8th, announced on Twitter that he was pulling the game off. In fact, let me go ahead and read his tweets so that there's no misquoting going on. He says, "I'm sorry, Flappy Birds users. 22 hours from now, I will take Flappy Bird down. I cannot take this anymore." Then he says, "It's not anything related to legal issues. I just cannot keep it anymore. I also don't sell Flappy Bird. Please don't ask." And his very last tweet, I still make games. That brings you up to speed on the current Flappy Birds fiasco, if you will, the current internet drama until tomorrow when there's a new internet drama that everybody can be very angry about. Before we start, I want to make one thing 100% clear. We are going to be talking about why it got all this hate, why it got all these death threats. Under no circumstance am I saying any of this is okay, especially the so-called death threats saying, kill yourself or I'm going to murder you. If you did that, you're a piece of shit. Let's be 100% clear. If you did that, even joking, you're a human piece of shit. If you don't like it, I don't give a shit. Downvote me, leave negative comments. I don't fucking care because you're a piece of shit. So your opinion doesn't matter to me. Whether he ripped off the graphics or not or whatever, that absolutely does not justify telling him to go kill himself or that you're going to murder him. And yes, I actually did see these tweets. And while I don't think those, I never will call those actual death threats because an actual death threat is a little bit more severe than a random tweet from a 14-year-old taking a picture of himself in the bathroom mirror with an iPad. But it's still ridiculous and it still makes you human garbage. So I want to be 100% clear that through this discussion, don't think that any of this in any way, shape, or form is any validation for any of that. Don't do it. Don't be a piece of shit. So, like I said, the thing I want to talk about is why did it get so much hate? Why did this game get so much hate? And conversely, why it's not about jealousy, or at least why jealousy is almost obviously not the primary factor in how much hate it got. Because a lot of people are saying, well, people are angry. People, gamers and other indie devs, they're angry, they're jealous because this cheap little game, because apparently they didn't have a lot of depth. And again, I haven't played it, but apparently to them, and we're going to be talking about perceptions a lot here, but to them it was kind of a cheesy game. To them, it was perceived as a ripoff, and to them it was perceived as just also possibly doing some shady stuff to get it to the top of the App Store charts. There was some accusations of botting and whatnot. Again, all these are accusations because, quite frankly, I didn't care about Flappy Birds until yesterday when I couldn't get away from it. And I had read one or two articles about how it was a ripoff, and quite frankly, I didn't see any damning evidence. I saw that it had similarities to other games, but you could do that with almost any game. If you want to take screenshot per screenshot, you could find similarities between this game and others. So I personally have not researched it enough. So know that when I say that it's perceived as being a rip off, that I actually mean it's perceived. I'm not doing it as a passive aggressive way to say perceived as wink wink. I honestly don't have a judgment. So, and again, perception is very important in this case, which is again why I bring it up and why I'm kind of harping on that point. Back to my original point, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it's only getting all this hate because of gamers and other developers are jealous because it got very popular." I think that's asinine. First of all, this whole "you're just jealous" is only one very small step above "you're just a hater." That thing is, I absolutely hate when people just default to the "you're just jealous." It's bullshit. It's a bullshit excuse so that when you don't want to have to look into things deeper and you just want a quick throwaway excuse. Obviously, sometimes it's accurate, and I think to an extent it's accurate here, but to use jealousy as an excuse for the extent and the amount of quote unquote hate, as the kids like to say, is asinine. Because here's my big thing. Okay, well, this game was popular, it got lots of hate. What about other games? What about other popular indie games in particular? Let's look at games like Star Citizen, which is the largest crowdfunding game of all time. I think it might be the largest crowdfunded project, period. How much hate is that game getting? I haven't heard much. What about Rust? Rust is super popular. It's one of the most popularly bought games on Steam. How much jealousy hatred are these developers getting? Not really a lot. You don't really see, and if you look at Rust, it's taking what DayZ did and going, okay, we've got a slight little change to it. We've evolved it slightly. So where are all these articles? Where are these tweets? Where is all this anger towards Rust for being a ripoff of DayZ? Where's it at? DayZ is itself another great example. Where's all this hate to the developers for DayZ being super, super popular and the developers being, skyrocketed to fame, and the DayZ standalone selling a gajillion dollars worth within the first week or whatever it is? Where's all the hate? If there's so much jealousy for this indie devs, why isn't it there? Yes, sure, they get hate for things like bugs and imbalances and the way they handle certain things. Yes, but that's totally different from the type of just regular hate mail and other things that the developer of Flappy Birds is getting. And Minecraft, of course, another perfect example of why jealousy doesn't explain it. Where's all the Minecraft hate? And then people might say, well, Notch gets plenty of hate. Are you seriously trying to tell me that Notch or any of the developers on Star Citizen or Rust or DayZ get anywhere near not appropriate, but a similar amount of hate, or I keep using the term hate, but are they getting any kind of the negativity proportional to their sales and success that Flappy Birds is? I'm going to say almost certainly not. And Flappy Birds got much, much bigger proportion of hate than any of these other developers of games. I think it's incredibly safe to say. So jealousy doesn't fly with me. Let's look at why Flappy Birds then. Why is Flappy Birds getting all this hate then? If it's not jealousy, obviously something triggered it. What was it? And I think it's what we talked about before. I think it's this perceived, again, very strongly perceived notion that it has ripped off other games. I did read a Kotaku article, which I should know not to read Kotaku. I know, I apologize. But I read the article, and honestly, even when I read the article, I was like, really? They had ripped off the pipes from Mario. And I saw the picture, and I'm like, yep, those are green pipes, and yep, they definitely make me think of Mario. Is that really making the game a ripoff of Mario, though? I mean, come on. I could see it as a nod. Now, if they had the pipes, the clouds, the mushroom, the sound effects from Mario and all of that, and maybe they do, I don't know, I haven't played it, then all right, now I'm starting to think, this is a little sketchy. And the pipes aren't even exactly the same. They're a little different. And they even had this picture of how the main, I guess the bird you use is similar to like the fish and some other creature combined. Like, and I had to roll my eyes at that one. I mean, it's Kotaku. I understand. I'm already scraping the bottom of the gaming news barrel. But even that was like, really? Like, you consider that like a ripoff? Because, well, if you take these two Mario characters and kind of combine them like they had some kind of weird love child, the bird sort of kind of looks like those two together. So therefore, it's a ripoff. So yeah, that's ridiculous. So sites like Kotaku are definitely responsible for a lot of this vitriol toward the developer for supposedly ripping off these other games. And I know there's other articles about it being very similar to a game called, again, P.O. Pew, whatever. Again, I didn't bother reading it. I saw a side-by-side image comparison. I'm even looking at it now, where it shows how the main character in both games look very similar, and they have to dodge these like green things. And Flappy Bird's its pipe, it's P.O. Pew, it's like cactuses. Whatever. Yes, it's similar. But again, I haven't looked into it far enough to make a decision. But again, it's not about whether they actually did these things. It's a lot of this stuff was drummed up. It made itself a target when it hit #1, kind of out of nowhere. And I think a lot of these people and these gaming journalists sites looked at it, and I don't know if they necessarily went in to try to find negative things, but they probably had a negative opinion going in. So when they found similarities, they built on it. Like, they saw the pipes. The pipes is pretty obvious, right? If I would have just saw a picture, I would have immediately thought, oh, those are like the Mario pipes. And they probably built off of that, right? They said, well, if they rip off the pipes, well, they probably ripped off other stuff too. And they probably just went in and started looking for it. And they found it because they knew it was there. In their minds, they knew it was there. So therefore, they will find a way to find it again. Whether it's actually there or not, I'm not here to judge. But this perceived notion that they ripped off graphics, this perceived notion that they stole gameplay, this perceived notion that they, or I guess he is only one developer, this perceived notion that he used unscrupulous methods to get his game to the top using bots or whatever, combined with his popularity. Like, if this game was a ripoff, like an obvious ripoff, and it had ripped graphics from other games and obviously copied another game, but it was like number 572 on the iPhone's game list, nobody would care. But when it brings itself to the top, it naturally, it puts itself into view, right? It puts itself in the view, so then people will look at these various things. So to draw it to a close, my opinion from looking at the history of games like this, and looking at what people talked about, and looking at what seemed to make people angry about this game, wasn't that, oh, it was a popular game, therefore I'm jealous and I want to bring it down. It was a combination of being put into the spotlight by being #1 on the iOS store, and this perception, true or otherwise, that it stole graphics. This perception that, true or not, it stole gameplay. This perception, true or not, that it cheated to get to the top of the list. That's what I'm trying to get across. This is why it got so much hate. That just really bugged me about the whole thing. Again, seeing people I know on Twitter and other places who are intelligent people throwing out the people are, seeing this poor developer get all this anger because of jealousy. It's not jealousy. There's not, again, there are absolutely people out there who are going to attack other people just because they are jealous of their success, right? And they will try to pull that tall poppy down. Absolutely, this happens. I don't doubt it happens. But the level of vitriol, the amount of venom spit at this person and at this game doesn't click with other games we've seen that were very successful. As much or more, we didn't see the same amount of negative attention put at those games in the same way. So I guess that's my point. I just wanted to throw that out there because it's been kind of annoying me. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning into this tea time. As always, leave comments. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You can follow me on Twitter. All the information is on my channel page and in the description below the video. I think at least it should be. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.